My wife's coworker demanded a free wedding video, then dragged us to HR when I said no. I'm 29, and I shoot weddings, small events, and promo videos. My wife is 34 and works at an architecture firm. One of her coworkers, Rachel, was getting married on Saturday, September 28th. We met at the firm's barbecue a few weeks before. She walked up smiling and said, "Oh my God, you do wedding videos? You have to do mine. It'll be so nice to have someone I already know behind the camera." I said I could send my rate sheet. My prices are normal for our area. $1,800 for a full day, editing, a highlight reel, and delivery links. Travel is extra if it's out of county. I also need a small retainer and a signed contract to hold the date. She said she'd check it out and waved it off like it was easy. A week later, she texted, "Wait, I thought since we're basically family through your wife's job, you'd give me a friend discount, or maybe do it as a gift." I told her, nicely, that I don't mix personal connections with free work. I've seen how messy that gets, especially with people tied to my wife's office. I said I'd be happy to work if she booked like everyone else. She left me on red. I moved on and filled my calendar. A few days later, my wife came home looking tense. She said, "Heads up, Rachel's been telling people you're doing her wedding video." I was stunned. I texted Rachel and asked why she'd say that when I hadn't agreed. She replied, "I just assumed you changed your mind. I'm so stressed. I figured you'd understand." I told her clearly that I wasn't available and had already booked another couple for that date. She wrote, "Okay, but I really hope you reconsider." I said no. I set the phone down and went back to editing. The wedding day came. It was the last Saturday of September. At 7:10 a.m., my phone started ringing over and over. It was Rachel. When I picked up, she was crying and yelling. Her videographer had canceled that morning. She said she needed me to come through. I told her I had another couple counting on me, and I couldn't abandon them. She called me heartless and ungrateful, after she'd always been so nice to us. I said this was exactly why I keep work and personal life separate. Then I hung up and blocked her number before the next call could hit. My wife still went to the wedding for a few hours so things wouldn't get worse at work. She said the room felt tense, and Rachel barely looked at her. I told my wife to stay calm and keep the texts safe. We didn't want this turning into office drama, but we were ready if it did. On Tuesday, HR emailed my wife and asked her to come in. Rachel had sent them a long message saying I'd agreed to film and backed out last minute, and that I was tied to the firm because I'm her spouse. My wife brought screenshots. She walked HR through the timeline. Barbecue ask, rate sheet, her gift text, my no, the morning meltdown. HR asked about dates and clients and how I book jobs. I told my wife to share that I only work with contracts and retainers. They could see I'd never agreed. They said they understood and thanked her for clearing it up, but it was still embarrassing to sit there and explain our marriage to her workplace. That night, I got tagged on Facebook by a post calling out unprofessional videographers. It was Rachel's account. She didn't name me, but she tagged my business page. My phone lit up. I reported it. I contacted Facebook and had it taken down. I posted a short note on my page about availability and contracts. No names, just policy. People at my wife's office started acting weird. Some glanced at her and went quiet. A few asked if we were okay. It made my wife feel small. I told her I'd keep everything documented and let the facts do the work. HR followed up and asked for the full text thread from my phone. I exported it and sent it through my wife so it stayed inside their process. While they reviewed, I focused on my edits, answered client emails, and kept my schedule tight. I backed up the texts and the call log. I set calendar holds and cleaned up my contract template so the deposit, scope, and delivery terms were extra clear. I wasn't going to let a rumor ding the name I've spent years building. The review wrapped fast. This morning, Rachel emailed my wife. She wrote that she realized she'd crossed a line. She admitted she made assumptions and should never have told anyone I was filming before I agreed. She said the Facebook post was out of line. She said she had taken it down and had already told a few coworkers the truth. She apologized to my wife and to me by name in the same email. The message was short, careful, and it sounded coached, but it was an apology. My wife forwarded it to me. I read it twice. I didn't feel happy, but I felt the pressure leave my shoulders. I wrote a one-line reply through my wife. "Thanks for clearing it up." Then I archived it. My wife let out a breath I could hear through the phone. We closed the screenshots and put the file away. That was it. Now people at her office are whispering that I'm petty. Was I wrong for it?